I strongly believe that you cannot have great marketing, whether that is SEO, PPC, social media. You can't have that kind of presence and not have good CRO because you could get a million people to your website and if zero of them buy from you because your experience sucks, you don't have a good business. If you generate 10,000 clicks tomorrow and four people bought from you, that's a terrible ROI. So you need to have conversion rate optimization thinking throughout your work. Like, how do you get the people that are taking the time to come to your website? How do you get them to take action?
I'm John Wright, and you're listening to Affiliate BI, the business intelligence and affiliate marketing podcast brought to you by StatStrive. Welcome to the Affiliate BI podcast. Today we're chatting with Jesse Ringer, who is the founder of Method Metric, which is an SEO agency based in Vancouver, BC, Canada. Jesse's background covers it all from marketing, social media, PR, and including video production. Jesse, welcome to the show.
Hey, John, thanks for having me.
So I listed off a ton of skills there that you've gained over the last 10, 15 plus years. How are those experiences shaping you to be an all-round SEO? And how does that make you operate differently than maybe what other people think about when it comes to SEO?
Yeah, I think the first part that people often associate with SEO is that it's often very technical and very content focused. And there is a lot of jargon in our industry, but I think that in today's world of SEO and optimizing for search engines and the landscape that looks like, I think being a well-rounded marketer is hugely important. So I think that my background in everything from content to video to PR and everything in between has really allowed me to look at problems that our clients face in a way that is not as straightforward or, I don't know, traditional in an SEO space. So I think it gives me a huge opportunity to provide better solutions and better opportunities for our clients just from having a long career in this space.
Would you say that YouTube is something that you leverage quite a bit for your clients?
Yes and no. I think we use it a fair bit for the clients that do generate a lot of video content and things like that. But for the most part, our clients don't do enough of it. And so we use YouTube to an extent for keyword research and strategy development, and especially on the content side of things to help figure out how people are, potentially searching for these topics in other mediums. But at the end of the day, most of our clients are really focused on generating traffic and revenue through their website.
So SEO is dead in 2025. And I want to ask you, how's business?
It's probably like the 10th year that SEO has been dead. And it's good. It's good. I think that as long as there continue to be search engines, whether that is Google or Bing or maybe Perplexity or ChatGPT, there's always going to be a need for businesses to generate traffic from those channels. Yeah, business is great.
Yeah, my personal take on that is anyone who does podcasts or put themselves out there, let's say, for example, you in showcasing your skills and experience, that makes you the go-to guy. So if you've hired an SEO agency and Google's messed up your site and they tank, and your SEO agency is like, just give us more money, they're eventually going to find people like you that says, hey, I'm not going to hoard all of my SEO secrets. I'm actually going to put myself out there.
Yeah. And that's been a guiding principle in my life and in my career, in that, like, when I first started in SEO, Twitter was where I found out about algorithm updates and figured out new strategies and saw what other people were doing in this space as professionals. And I feel that so much of my knowledge has been learned from other people's experiences and my own experiences, that I think sharing that for the next generation and for other practitioners is just better for our industry. If more companies are working with quality agencies, then it just means that all of the good agencies that are out there are just going to be valued that much more. And we don't have to fight to prove that we're a good agency because it'll just be common knowledge that these agencies are good and the work that we do is good.
Yeah, I guess it goes without saying, it's better to have a case study of a site that looks amazing and ranks well rather than a site that looks like garbage and you managed to pull out magic and said, wow, I don't know how you did that, but that is also pretty
Yeah.
magical.
Right? Totally. Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, like it's super easy to hide behind shady tactics in the SEO world. And it creates a lot of distrust for people who are looking for authentic and quality SEO folks.
So do you think it's possible that people can just run businesses without actually setting up not just only a website, but a website without content? YouTube is one example. We've seen a lot of people, they're selling their SEO strategies or agency work just by going on social media. To be very honest, I've done a ton on LinkedIn. And if I can actually, if I had to lose all my channels, I'd be like, do not take LinkedIn away from me. That's my goal.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen it. I've seen businesses that do well with a very basic website, a landing page with their value proposition, the name of their business, and an email address. And yes, certainly being a person that's grown up with the internet and being versed in how effective your business can grow through digital channels, it, I would be very worried if you were a business in 2025 and beyond that didn't have a website, that didn't use the website for lead generation or business development. And obviously, like, I've built a whole business and agency around the value that a website can bring to a business. And yeah, I think it would be nuts not to have a website. And to your point too, like LinkedIn is a huge channel. I think it's underutilized and it has grown into a feed that is not just about going, "Hey, I got a new job," or "Hey, I'm looking for work," to like, "Hey, here are some ideas and strategies that I'm experimenting with or trying out, or check out this new case study, or look at what these other brands are doing that's super impressive." And so I think that LinkedIn's really evolved into a way to communicate our value as thinkers and creators and marketers that wasn't there even 5 years ago.
Yeah, and I think similar to Twitter slash X, it's also another channel for staying on top of whatever industry you're in. It doesn't even matter if you're in a localized spot where it's okay. I do, I don't know, dry cleaning. That's okay. Maybe that doesn't sound interesting, but follow the people that are in this space. And if they ever have anything interesting to write about, you at least want to stay on top of it and go, is this leading to business or are you missing out on some opportunity?
Yeah, I think staying in touch with your peers in your industry is huge for the success of any business. And for a dry cleaning space, like what if a new chemical came out that was like half the cost of the current chemicals and cleaned twice as fast? Wouldn't you want to know about it? And it's obviously an oversimplification of it all, but that's real. With SEO, with Google, like they're doing algorithm updates almost every week at this point. There was one on Friday, January 9th, and all these people
I
are
had no
talking
idea.
like, "Oh, yeah, I'm not paying attention to it all the time," but then I go and look at the data, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, you can see there was an algorithm update." And so you can start to pivot and adjust your strategies accordingly and make sure that your clients are not failing or your own business hasn't been hit hard by it. So, yeah, I rely on the SEO community for a ton of our work and a ton of our insights and stuff.
Okay, so you just ruined my evening where now I'm going to spend 1 to 2 hours just going on Ahrefs going, all right, let's see which affiliate sites
Very
got
welcome.
nailed really bad.
That
And
sounds like a great evening. I'm sure
yes,
you'll have fun doing that.
no, to be honest, I actually enjoy doing it. It's from my point of view, because what we do as a company, we're trying to stay on top of the trends for affiliate marketers, especially in a particular niche in iGaming. So the more I know about what's going on, I'm surprised at how much people don't know what is happening around them. And maybe there's just a market available for sharing this knowledge. Look at what's the guy's name? Glenn Alsop, who's got detail.com.
Oh,
Like
man.
that article and report, it's even if you're not working in that space, you're like, I'm still going to digest it. This is cool stuff.
Yeah, and I think to add to that, it's just look at what's happening in other industries. As the world goes and as other industries and markets go, so too will yours. AI came in and like that was all over the place and it's impacting SEO folk now. It's impacting content writers. It's not just for creating cool pictures or writing crazy jargon. It's used as a tool now and it impacts everyone's work and everyone's ability to generate money. And yeah, I think you have to have a pretty broad worldview and see what's happening out there to know where you should focus your own energy down the road.
It's actually a really good strategy that I do every once in a while. It's okay if I'm trying to rank something, whether it's local or whatever. I go, give me something that's similar, but not in the same city. It's like trying to help someone with like their mixed martial arts gym and then go, okay, let's look at boxing in another similar small town. You get a
Yeah.
lot of great ideas that way. And yeah, it's just sounds like common sense market research, but I like going to different industries going, what have they done? That's an interesting way of leveraging content or platforms.
Oh yeah, I do the same. I read a ton of different like entrepreneur magazines and then ideas around business and even just like in creative spaces like design or architecture and things like that, because how they solve problems can very easily translate in certain aspects into like the work that we're doing and the problems we're trying to solve. And it also makes it easier for me to connect with our clients and our prospects because I'll have a touch point around the industry that they're in that we can be like, this problem persists for you. Here's how this other company is solving that or helping to alleviate some of that pain point. So yeah, it just makes us better at connecting overall. It makes us smarter and more engaged.
Okay. The next question, it's a series of questions. I'm putting you a bit on the hot seat, but I'm doing it for a good cause. So I've got friends that they're always asking me for help on their SEO stuff. I don't do SEO consulting anymore. I haven't done it in a long time. And to be honest, I didn't do the best job of it. But when I give them the strategies, it's almost like they don't believe it. And I think maybe they'd be better hearing it from a pro. So who knows? This might actually lead to some referrals.
Yeah,
So
maybe. Yeah.
okay, so here's a first case study. What would you do for a website that does AI betting tips? It has almost no content, like it's got a homepage and a couple category pages, and it almost has no links. Like the SEO visibility is basically zero, with the exception of some Twitter X content. But it is an actually awesome product that just people aren't aware of.
Yeah. For context, like how are they currently getting clients?
They're not. That's the actual bad part. It's they're trying to get some through Twitter, but I don't think the traffic volume is enough. And I don't think people are catching on. What I actually think might be hurting them is possibly a brand presence, where if someone's actually following them on Twitter and it's, look, they're actually, you got a guy who's producing all these betting tips and it's, you pretty much will make money if you follow them. But I think what happens is when people go on the links, the site actually looks okay. It could be better, but I just think it's lacking content. It's lacking that authority that says, how did we do this? Actually, you know what? It's like just you asking the question is like helping me solve their problem. I think just for them explaining how they do it, like why are they different? What makes it I think that would actually be a great start for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And to add to that, the thoughts around what is the value proposition? What makes them worthy or worth the investment? Is it easy to sign up? And in those cases too, betting is a huge space. AI is obviously a big black box of information. Demonstrating their expertise, demonstrating like use cases, demonstrating case studies, examples of successful betting schemes and so forth, but also creating content around, that audience, what they care about. Why do they need AI? Why do they need this tool? For our other software type clients, we'll always make sure that they address the pain points, who it's for, and all the features that they have. And if it is just going AI for betting, that's pretty broad. But if it is, I don't know, AI for nailing your basketball parlay, or how do you win your pool for football, like those types of things are much more valuable. Like the person isn't just going to go, I want to be better at betting. That's not enough, right? Like really, it is about they're usually likely coming to this because they have identified that they are not good at choosing, man, the winning teams or the point spread, and show those people like, okay, here's the tool for helping you pick point spread. Here's how you're going to do it for your parlays and those types of things, and demonstrating that information and helping to prove that out a bit more, I think is where you go with it. I don't know the industry well enough, but those are just some ideas that I have from past experience with like software companies. And yeah, so
It sounds at least the common terms in betting. So
I
that's
watch a lot of sports.
yeah.
So I don't bet personally, but I do see the ads and I see all the betting schemes and so forth.
Yeah,
Like,
the odds are just tossed down your throat, whether you want to actually pay attention to them or
yeah,
not.
like every intermission is no, the The plus minus is at this, and
Yeah.
this team looks more favorable. Anyway, yeah,
It's overdone. Okay, so the next company is I've got a friend, he builds or designs luxury lighting, and it starts at $1,000 and goes up to 15K. So
great.
it's not cheap stuff. And when I started doing research, I was like, wow, okay, without a doubt, there's not a lot of companies that kind of put themselves in that space. But he's looking to hire an SEO agency. And I basically said, these are some of the strategies you could do. Personally, what I gave him as my advice was I thought digital PR and link building could help quite a bit, where it's such a unique topic that anyone that does anything in, let's say, architecture, interior design, they're looking for this content. I don't even think you have to pay them for it. So I think if he did stuff like that, it would help attract that eventual buyer that says, I want to drop 50K in lighting in my, or whatever it is.
Yeah. My first question then to your friend would be like, is it the interior designers that they're targeting, or is it the homeowner?
Good
Because those are
question.
2 different experiences. And on one hand, having a e-commerce component would matter, but I don't think people are going to drop $1,000+ on a lighting fixture that they haven't seen up close. In that sense, going with interior designers or, yeah, maybe a project, like, development firm that is lighting out all of the entryways for a new building or something like that. I would figure like, align on what that looks like, who that target audience is. And then again, it really comes down to, yeah, PR and link building. I think in those visual spaces, lighting, architecture, furniture, where it's very visual, you need a lot of coverage in those things. Getting into, yeah, digital magazines or magazines that have a digital edition matter a great deal. Featured on Instagram, featured on Pinterest, those types of things play a big factor in it. The challenge with a lighting company, an individual one too, is that you're up against big players. Like you're up against, like in Vancouver, we have Robinson Lighting. Like you're up against massive companies and a variety of other outlets that are also looking for that business. I would say that the PR and the connection building is a bigger part than speaking to trying to necessarily rank for luxury lighting or whatever keywords they would want to target.
So this could be like the anti-SEO playbook where you could actually say, look, just focus on business development. If your potential buyer is like a designer or an architect, you can just find them on LinkedIn. There's no SEO there, with one exception, that when you do the digital PR, that might be the way they actually discover you in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. And like this would require a bit of user research and like customer research. The design companies and stuff that I follow on Instagram and such, like they are very much talking about the locality of how they're made, the products and the materials that they use. They tell the story behind each fixture, each product they design, and the inspiration for it, and using that as a tool. Because I would say people on the West Coast that are perhaps looking for to design their home in a traditional West Coast feel would want to have light fixtures by folks who live on this side of the country. And I think in this space too, awards and recognition go a long way. And earning that and then presenting that on your website be a big part. And then again, will probably recommend this for all of the case studies here, but content. Like how do you, and maybe it's visual content, maybe it's YouTube content, like how you design your products, how you manufacture them, what makes them special, like where what's the story behind it? Because I think at that price point too, people want to be able to go, look at this sculptural light that I just bought. It's designed by someone's like it made from this stuff. It uses the hair of a white wolf and all that kind of stuff. Sells the product. Like
Yeah.
so, being really articulate about that stuff goes a real way. Yeah.
And would you say that maybe even for an SEO playbook here, that e-commerce seems to be getting a lot more attention these days? When we look at affiliate marketing, I think affiliate content is not ranking as much as e-commerce. And I've known so many SEOs that they're like, I'm pivoting hardcore into e-commerce. So maybe this would be an actual playbook Because when I looked at some of the other places where you could buy lighting, Etsy was a place that actually had some expensive lights in there. Like
Oh,
we're talking $1,000 plus type of lighting. So the bespoke stuff
yeah.
is on different platforms and it ranked. I found them.
Yeah, and I think to your point, like, having just diverse channels. Yeah, Etsy could be super effective. Pinterest, Google Shopping. If people know what they're looking for and they know what it is that the dimensions and things like that, and that goes a long way. But yeah, there will be people that want to just buy your light. They saw you at a trade show and then, okay, I'm going to go online and buy it and make it simple. Yeah. With all of that, like clear and transparent pricing and then pathways to making a purchase. Yeah. It feels like a no brainer in a lot of industries these days. Just have it there. Even if it's not a huge driver, it still makes a big difference.
Okay, the next one, every once in a while, I like to ask a self-serving question. So the next one is more to do with what we do as a company. So I'll just give you a quick context. So we got a SaaS tool for affiliate marketers that grabs all their data, like their click data and their revenue data in one place. Currently, it's focused on iGaming, but we plan to go outside of it. And we've actually had a couple of customers say, "Hey, John, I'm looking for someone to buy either my affiliate accounts or my website. Do you know any buyers?" So we actually went through an experience many years ago. Do you know Flippa and Empire Flippers?
I do. I subscribe to there.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So I sold a site in Flippa quite a few years ago, and I went through the experience of going, how do I validate my revenue? Long story short, they wouldn't accept our app as revenue validation. We now have that, and we actually have customers that they're actually using seat access to show the revenue data without compromising anything. So we're thinking about actually building an M&A marketplace, like just something really basic, like creating a page, not making it super technical. So what would you have for a strategy for us to do this? Beyond just making announcements saying, "Hey, here's a press release. We're now launching this." You
Yeah.
just sign in and it's almost hands off.
Yeah. So we've done a lot of marketplaces over the years in a variety of spaces. What generally works well, like one, you need to have traffic to show the people that are going to be paying you the money that you're worth their time. So that has to take on its own entity, and you can make content that serves both sides of this market, especially in the blog space of, yeah, affiliate marketing, do's and don'ts, all that kind of stuff, getting into the business, getting out of the business, how to optimize that experience. And you can write a lot of content around that stuff because that'll serve the whole audience that you're trying to target. Your business pages, like your homepage can be split, I would say, but I would say that you would want to have the majority of your business pages, at least 70% of it, focus on the people that are going to pay you money. Whatever you decide is going to be where you get your money from, whether that is the people selling the site, you get a commission that way, or the buyers might have to like subscription fees, whoever that is. And I'm not going to suggest which one it should be. That's up to you. That's who you should focus all of that content to. Because if you start focusing on the people that don't have to pay and just have to create an account, you're missing out on the opportunity to communicate your value proposition of why this website is important and why someone should give you money to list their website or their app with you.
Okay.
So we've seen it like so many times, these double-ended markets where you need both sides to come to your website. The the free side of things will be a lot easier for traffic generation. You can run ads, you can get sponsorships, you can do all kinds of stuff, join Reddit, all that kind of stuff. But who you really need are the businesses that are going to sell their websites or what have you. Make sure it's really clear to them what it is, what the value is that your website is going to do for them.
Okay. Then a couple questions on top of that. So the main app of what we have, it's already got the homepage, it's got the features. Who's this for? So I
Okay.
don't think we would make that the homepage. We could give it its own page. But would you say that it's even worthwhile creating a subdomain saying it's a special feature or even its own domain? So to give you a quick context, when I Googled buy, sell affiliate sites, Flippa and Empire Flippers are number one, number two. And the ones that rank after, they don't look very compelling. Like when I click on them, I'm like, you might technically do this, but there's nothing here that's super profound in comparison to those top two. And I'm not saying we're going to come in and be number three instantly,
Mhm.
but I think we actually have an easy opportunity to rank. And I'm just wondering, do I rank for number 3 and 4 or just go for a solid number 3, regardless of paid subfolder, subdomain?
My view of it is that third place still makes money. You look at sports, again, to go back to that analogy, we look at using a hockey example, we look at the Wayne Gretzky's, the Ovechkins, and the Connor McDavids of the world, and they do well. Like, people know them and they make money and their name is currency. But then you could look at a second line person or a third line person, and anyone that plays in the NHL is still making a good amount of money. But you never have to win the Stanley Cup to be great. You can still be like very good and make a ton of money. And like tennis is another example where like those people that are consistently ranking in the top 10, they're doing a good amount of money every time. They may not be household names, but they're still doing really well. And in my mind, that's great. You want to make money at this. You don't need to be the greatest and best and remembered through history for all time. You just got to be better than the others, than most. And so being third is great. And yeah, to that point, yeah, having your homepage be the marketplace and like selling, that's great. I caution against using subdomains and I caution against having separate domains because one, it can create brand confusion to an extent. But I would say more importantly, from an SEO perspective,
There we go.
domains dilute themselves and you don't cultivate all of that link equity from all the different links and all of the trust and everything. If you can keep it all on one domain, it'll be better from an SEO perspective. Two, it'll be a lot easier to manage and just all that link equity, all that value that you'll build will go to one place rather than it being spread out across a bunch of different ones.
So it depends.
It depends. Yeah, if there's a real use, like I've seen it work well, but I've also seen it where complete disaster in that all the subdomains for the brands that are paying this business are all a mess. None of them rank particularly well. When a person goes to click from a product on their subdomain, it takes them over to the primary domain, and that's a weird experience. It's a little bit jarring, those types of things. I would have a really good thought about what is the ROI or the lifetime value of the people that are selling the websites. Are they going to be selling multiples? Are they likely just to be selling one and never come back? Because if that's the case, stick with like subfolders and individual pages. But if they're going to be like building an account, building and flipping for a lot, and all of like most of your business will come from people like that, then maybe it makes sense to be on a subdomain so they can manage that separate experience.
Okay. Lots to think about.
Those are
Uh,
business questions. Those are not necessarily SEO questions.
yeah. Which, I mean, it goes without saying, sometimes you
Yeah.
need to ask the business questions before you give an SEO answer.
And flip side, yeah. Like I remember a guy had started a business giving small perks and bonuses to like hourly workers, and it was called The Perk. And they got really deep into the building of the product and that they were really tied to this name. And about 4 months down the road, he was like, I need a website and started researching it. And every version of the perk or perk on a .com, .ca, .co, .io was all taken. And there was a business in the States with the exact same name doing the exact same thing. And I'm an SEO person, but man, just everyone listening, just Google your business idea, your business name first and make sure it's available. Make sure you can get the domain name because it really sucks when you have to. It's really hard to change once you realize you can't have that name.
Not to mention trademarks as well.
Yeah, we years ago, we had a company launch after us. We were Method and Metric, we still are obviously, but they were Methods and Metrics. And we were getting a bunch of business from people who they thought we were them. And so I emailed him and told him the situation. And he wrote back a few days later because he was also doing digital marketing. He's, we'll change our name. Yeah, because we ranked number one. We were ranking number one for their name and every variation of their name as well as ours. So it would have been a very competitive situation otherwise.
Yeah, makes sense. All right. One more pseudo case study type of question. So I've done a couple case studies where I'm taking two slots affiliate websites. They're a little different, but I said, if they're not getting traffic, one of them hasn't got off the ground properly. The other one actually was just starting to get off the ground. We're talking like April of 2024. And then another Google update, it just put it back down. One I actually think has a good USP, but I think it's going to be difficult for anyone to understand the USP. So my suggestion to both of them was like, look, one thing that I see work with slots affiliates is both streaming and video. And I said also when I did research, because I love podcasts, I went on my phone. I said, okay, let me see if there's actually any slots podcasts. And there's almost none. There might be a couple and some that have started and then they stopped. I think this would be easy SEO rankings, not to mention I think all the links you can generate from the podcast sphere are strong signals that point inward to say, hey, if you can't be the top 10 streamer, which is going to be difficult today, you can at least be number one in a podcast. What would you suggest to these guys if they're still not listening?
Oh, podcasts are huge. They are a good source of content and opportunity. They're hyper targeted. I don't think many people outside of like affiliate industry will necessarily listen to this. And not that it's great, not great content. It's just not going to resonate with people, right? The same way. And we have to, I would definitely double down on that. I think that podcasts serve a great deal. But to my earlier point of like, you can still make a good living being third or fourth. These brands can be third or fourth in streaming and stuff. And by all means, like, I think that there's still a lot of money to be had in that space, but they need to be really honest with themselves about it. And if they're small and they're still trying to figure out their revenue streams and like how to consistently generate revenue, this goes for SEO and this goes for every other kind of space. Like you got to start small and then grow. It's not to say you can't grow. For us in the early going, it used to be like we would want to rank for SEO agency. Yeah, great, obviously. Like, but that's super competitive. Every SEO agency wants to rank for SEO agency. So we started smaller. Like my first website, jringer.ca, it's terrible name for it. But anyway,
It's personal branding. Today, that's actually good now.
yeah, yeah. At the time, I was like, "Yeah, this is great." I didn't really know what to do with the domain, but that's a different story. And like ranking, like I'd be like SEO agency in downtown Vancouver, SEO agency in Yaletown, and target those. These are neighborhoods in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Like just small areas to try and get that foothold, and then you start to grow. And that's how you can get like you go your big important head term, whatever the like affiliate marketing, but then you could go, you gotta go near like affiliate marketing for sports betting or affiliate marketing for podcasters or whatever. Go niche, go a bit smaller. It's less competitive. You can own that space a lot more. And then you can start to build up to these other spaces. And if you just start trying to compete with the big people that are already well established, I mean, you're going to get your ass kicked and it's going to be so humbling and it's not fun. So start small, get an audience, and then start getting bigger.
Yeah, it's even worse when Google's, we don't even care about your website anyways. So it doesn't even
Uh,
matter if you're on page 4 or just not indexed at all.
Google
What's the
cares about
point?
maybe 10 websites in the whole internet. Like that's all the rest of us are just like lucky to be invited. They just, yeah, Google makes money and that's all they really need to worry about.
Yeah, we should just invest in Google. They're just going to print more money with PMAX and everything
Yeah,
else.
right. I got a call from the ads people today. Anyway, that's a different story. But
Yeah. Pivoting to CRO, which is conversion rate optimization, one of my favorite topics. What do you think people should be doing in terms of CRO? Is this another example of, okay, they come here for SEO, but they're like, wait a minute, you could actually potentially crank out an extra 50% revenue just by making some changes on your website?
absolutely. I strongly believe that you cannot have great marketing, whether that is SEO, PPC, social media. You can't have that kind of presence and not have good CRO because you could get a million people to your website and if zero of them buy from you because your experience sucks, you don't have a good business. If you generate 10,000 clicks tomorrow and four people bought from you, that's a terrible ROI. So you need to have conversion rate optimization thinking throughout your work. Like, how do you get the people that are taking the time to come to your website? How do you get them to take action? And that comes down to the marketing, like the targeting and that experience, but also studying what they click on and what they engage with and what kind of behaviors they take on your website. We got a client years ago from the UK because they're like, we're working with this ad agency and they just keep telling us to spend more money, but I don't trust them. We're not getting any leads. And so we went and looked at their website and their contact form was broken. So no one could contact them. And so this agency was like, hey, if you double your ad spend, you will get double your leads. And that's impossible if the form is broken. And that's simple conversion rate optimizing. You fix your form, you're going to convert more. If you take out the stop words, you make it like, don't load your website with pop-ups and you make it really easy for people to like take action and you have a clear value proposition. Your checkout pages are fluid and smooth and it works well on mobile, all that kind of stuff is great. If you eliminate any unnecessary distractions, those things go a long way. And that's really what all of this is. Marketing is great. Brand awareness is great. But if no one buys from you, if no one gives you money, you're not a business. You're just a little passion project. So CRO is, yeah, it's hugely important. Like,
And CRO clearly ties in with paid marketing, where to be honest, I've not done a lot of paid media for a long time because I've been very aware for whether it's SaaS or affiliate marketing that it's pretty easy that when you don't pay attention to the little details, you can just spend money. You're waiting for the result at the end, but somewhere along the way, there's optimization within. And I think for a lot of people, it just may be intimidating.
yeah, yeah, totally. And Google makes it complex on purpose or seemingly complex so that people are deterred. Google makes most of their revenue from Google Ads. And the more they blur the work and make it harder for you to find stuff and harder for you to think that you're doing a good job and bombard you with warnings that your account sucks, they make more money. And yeah, if you're running Google Ads or really any paid media stuff, you got to know all the ins and outs and you got to be really detailed about it because they will take your money. They will gladly. I worked for a company that did a case study on the Domino's pizza. This was like before the pandemic and they had nothing to do with pizza. They had nothing to do with apps, really. They were just talking about innovation, but they let their ad campaign run on everything on their website. And so they spent upwards of $10,000 on people searching for Domino's pizza because they let this blog post into the feed. And it was people like going, Domino's near me, Domino's phone number, order Domino's online. All these things, Google show like 10 grand because it ran for a year. It's just like, yo, like, don't, yeah. Yeah.
This is what I wish Google would actually fix. Because imagine if you're the user that goes to Google and this happens to you. Let's just imagine in a perfect world, Bing actually never allows this to happen. Eventually, in theory, I'd think that more people would gravitate towards a place where this won't happen. I hope this future's around the corner, but I'm not holding my breath for it yet because if you can spend ads on LinkedIn, spend them on Facebook,
Yeah.
spend them on Google, I've never had them say, whoa, John, I see that you're clearly, I could cut your ad spend in half. They want me to double it.
Yeah, of
Always.
course. Even if they could show you how your ads could convert more, they wouldn't, no, they wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not
yeah,
happening.
it's not, yeah, they're not economically incentivized to make us better at what we're doing.
Next year, or maybe there's going to be a chatbot version that's going to be, all right, I'm just going to ask you the questions and then we'll figure it out for you
That'd be great. That would,
one day. That'd be a cool app for someone to build. The last question is, what do you see of the future of affiliate marketing as it intersects with business intelligence?
yeah, I think that this was obviously the question I was like giving most thought to when you sent me the question, by the way. I think that the internet is evolving in a way that Meta's rules changing aside and things like that, and Twitter becoming its own thing. People still want connection and want to be able to take recommendations from people that they like, know, and trust. And I think affiliate marketing is an invaluable tool in that. That if you are creating content that is authentic and sincere and truly helpful to people, they will want to do business and trust you when you recommend products. Like trust is such a rare thing on the internet these days that you have such an advantage just by being authentic about it and being strategic about the affiliate choices that you make and sharing that information. And so in that sense, I think that it's a massive underutilized channel for most businesses, right? Like most businesses don't really offer affiliate programs unless they're of a certain size or maybe they're in the software space. But like it's in my mind, I think affiliate marketing is top tier version of influencer marketing. And it's just done differently. It's done in such a hopefully authentic way that really helps create a good connection. That when someone clicks that affiliate link and arrives on your product, they know that they're in the right space. They're in the place that they need to be because the person that told them to be here cares about their audience and knows that your product is great. Yeah.
It's a great answer because let's go to the opposite of that where you get like New York Times or Fortune.com ranking for like best VPNs, and you're like, they have no business ranking for best VPN, and you know what they're doing. It's basically it's pure affiliate channel. They don't give a damn about who the best VPN. They give a damn about who's the best paying VPN in order from 1 to 10.
Fortune ranking for like best camping gear. It's
Yeah,
just, oh my God, this is nuts. Like
horrible. I'm glad Google fixed that one for us.
barely.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Just-
it's a solid answer. I actually think people need to understand. It's almost like there's no course in trust. There's courses to do affiliate marketing, and they all say you got to build trust, but it's almost like no one really doubles down on it and go, let's deconstruct what trust actually is. And yeah, that was well articulated. Jesse, thank you so much for doing this. I want to pass it back to you. How can people get a hold of you if you want them to get a hold of you?
Yeah, I'd love to meet more people. John, thank you for having me, first of all. Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn, super active there. So Jesse Ringer, got a little light bulb there to keep the spam folk out of that request feed. Our website, methodmetric.com. We have tons of free resources there, lots of content. Happy to connect there as well. But yeah, those are the two big channels. LinkedIn and our website are really where I spend most of my time online these days.
Awesome. And you can get that in the show notes. Jesse, thanks a lot for doing this.
Yeah, thank you, John. It was a great conversation. Thanks.
Thank you for tuning in to the Affiliate BI podcast. I'd like to take this time to ask for a small favor to leave a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcast. That helps us expand our reach to rank higher in podcast directories and reach more listeners.